When last we left our intrepid group of adventurers, our party was still clustered, for the most part, around Oakhart, the ancestral manse of the Oaks family, and the current base of operations for the adventuring party formerly known as the Companion Protectors of Damara, Eldric's company. Coming off of something of a difficult evening following Eldric's party for his ascension to the barony, the party had come back together, or the group had come back together for some rest and relaxation at Oakhart, and had begun to exercise some of their own interests that remained in the city of Heliogoblus, with the expectation that within a few days they are planning to be leaving the country once again and heading off to the northwest. The party had sort of split off into 5 different directions, with Alanir and Macaria. Well, Alanir spending some time out on the town, replenishing his stores. Macaria doing some research and some creation of some magical scrolls. Thoros'l had taken a job at the behest of sometimes ally, sometimes enemy, always antagonist, Pardic Talandar, aka Pardic Wolfswift, and is in the process of preparing to deliver a package to a dive bar on the far western end of town called the Dusty Duchess, to a client of Pardic's. Curious as to what was in the box, Thoros'l opened it up and found that it was a script for a play written in an archaic form of the Damaran language, or maybe a progenitor of the Damaran language, that utilized both common characters, Damaran characters, and infernal characters. Sort of a mishmash, or a hodgepodge of Damaran or ancient Damaran and infernal, called the Sixfold Trials of Larazad. Trying to divine any sort of meaning from that package, and what Pardic's aims may be, or what his client's aims may be with this. The party spent some time talking and thinking about that. Sprout is still recovering from a brush with death, in more ways than one. He was a victim of an attack on the city from an undead rider of immense power that nearly starved him to death while he during the encounter, during just a few short moments in the creature's presence. And then, of course, Eldric, continuing his duties as the Baron of Morov, doing some research on his family history and the history of the region from the Well of History, a tome, an ancient tome given to him by one of the High Heralds of Faerun, an independent group of historians and scribes who travel the realms in search of information and to record information on the nobility, or the noble classes of the various kingdoms and realms. In addition, Eldric sought to contact his father via a magical device that was shown to him by the steward, Durban Holy, and sent and received a message back from Titus Oaks, or so he believes. Where we left off last week, the party is split currently 4 ways, or we're about to be split 4 ways once again. Macaria returning to her research, Alanir heading back out to do something that he hasn't specifically talked to the rest of the group about, Thoros'l going to make his delivery, and Eldric entertaining the Grand Master of the Order of the Golden Cup, the Lady Basra Fuling, here in Oakhart. So where would we like to start?
would like to see thoros'l getting into a disguise, like a dark brown outfit, so he can just walk up and say, "I have a package." Sorry, that was just Legally Blonde was just there.
Let's take that, and we'll start with thoros'l then. Thoros'l,
Mm.
it is just before sunset that you hop a carriage from Oakheart. As you, since you're back at the manor, it's far easier for you to do so. Um, how far would you like to ride?
Um, I really don't want to be seen approaching the neighborhood of the double D um in the carriage. So if I could be dropped off outside of the neighborhood and then
Okay.
walk from there. I'm gonna keep an eye out for my usual escort of golden helms if I
Okay.
still have it.
Well, um, you definitely pick them up as you are leaving the manor. They stay at a fair distance, and given that you're traveling by carriage and not on foot, you are able to outpace them for the most part. So you do lose your tail about midway, or maybe about a third of the way through the Dawngate district, which is the northwestern district of Heliogopolis that you're traveling through. So you're headed down to Old Town, specifically to right here, which is where the Dusty Duchess is, sort of close to being in the shadow of the western wall. So dusk falls a little early in this section of Old Town. It's a little darker, like I said, in the shadow of the great defensive wall of the city. And as you depart from the carriage and send it back on its way, you've been to the Dusty Duchess before, as I recall. I think that this is not the first time that you've been to this, definitely to this side of town. But I think that this you have had business here, perhaps with Eldrick once. But either way,
Yeah.
you find your way to the Duchess. It's a small, 2 stories uh, tavern slash tenement. You know that the tavern is the bottom level, and there is an external and an internal entrance to an upper floor, which houses several very very low end apartments that are for rent. Um, this just what you were recalling.
Mhm.
The tavern is largely one room, and as you make your way into the building, you can see that um, it is largely empty. There's a gentleman, kind of with a heavy sort of kind of like an all weather cloak around his shoulders. He's sitting at the bar, very very close to the door. Um, there is the dwarven barkeep that you have encountered once before. You don't recall his name because I don't.
Yeah.
Um, and and there's currently no one else in the tap room. The tap room itself is large as taverns go. It takes up almost the entire bottom floor of the building, and it is set apart. Well, its chief feature is on the far wall across from the doorway as you come in. There's this large stairway that goes up to the second floor where the apartments are, and offset from that just a little bit is a large roaring fireplace that seems very out of place in the rest of this kind of rundown dive. It's a very ornate mostly stone carved brick fireplace, and above it is this massive, like almost floor to ceiling portrait of a woman that you have most recently met, the Duchess, now Baroness Sylvia of Ostel. And
Okay.
you will also note as you come into the room and you're kind of gazing up at this ridiculously large painting. There are a number of seems like it's almost like from floor to ceiling, not entirely covered, but scrawled all over with what appears to be like crude, maybe painting or writing, maybe with charcoal or chalk or something like that. The surface of the painting is just covered in various names, words, phrases. None of them necessarily mean much to you, but you see that a good portion of the painting itself has been scrawled over. Maybe
That's
like a
kinda
local custom that it's like.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Pretty fun. Well, not seeing a Impultarian dandy sitting around anywhere, I'll just mosey up to the bar and see what's shaking.
Okay. The dwarf behind the bar kind of gives you a look as you come in, and then he, it's kind of a gruff. He looks over his shoulder as he's polishing mugs or cleaning up a spill perhaps, and he glances over at you and then turns back to what he's doing. No greeting, no immediate engagement. He just looks at you, kind of gives a little bit of a shrug or a scoff, and then turns back to doing what he was doing.
Sure. Yeah, I'll take a silver out and put it on the bar. There's no need for words amongst men like us.
Hearing the sound of the silver clinking on the bar, he turns around, doesn't make any sort of eye contact. He scoops it up and puts a mug in its place.
Perfect. I'll just nurse the drink while I wait. What's the other person at the bar? I'll check them out while I'm having a beer.
Make me a perception check. Yeah, maybe a perception check.
27.
Wow. Okay.
What did they have for lunch today?
You can tell. Let me make a quick roll here, just for the sake of. Okay. You recognize the individual.
Okay.
It's a young man, young blonde man, who has apparently attempted to work maybe something like flour through his hair. So it's obviously blonde, but he has worked flour through his hair to where it looks grayer. There is maybe oil paint or like a grease pen has been worked across his cheeks to give him the appearance of lines on his face, not exactly like wrinkles, but make him look a little bit more weathered. It's an obvious attempt and an obviously very poor attempt at disguise, but you recognize, despite it's a very inspired attempt, but a very poor execution. He has attempted to make himself look like a somewhat hardy, weather-beaten old ranger, but it's very clearly Diergo Karn.
Okay. Diergo's here. Okay.
And he is trying very, very hard not to look at you. He's nursing his cup, and he looks with a 27 versus his 1 on the dice. He looks exceptionally nervous, and he couldn't be more obvious if he tried.
I'll put him out of his misery. I'll get up and scoot over to him at the bar and sit next to him. Diego,
He
what are you
turns.
doing here?
He,
What are you here?
he turns like instinctively at his name, and his eyes get really wide. And he looks at you. Like he meets your eye, and he looks at the barman, and he turns around and looks behind him, and he gets up, and he walks away, and he walks out, and like rushes out the door.
Okay. I'll take what's left of his beer and my beer and move back to where I can see the door and the stairs and just kind of relax and wait.
All right.
Whatever.
Not long after you have arrived, and Diego, disguised Diego, runs out the door of the Dusty Duchess. You notice the door opens again, and two women step inside. One is red-haired, the other is blonde. You don't recognize them. They don't look like anyone that you have met before. And they are dressed in simple leathers, like they are like working class. But they clearly, like, we're going off of your 27 perception from earlier. They are dressed to look that way, but they clearly are not. They look far too fresh to be laborers, common laborers, or shopkeepers, or anything of that nature. They look like moneyed individuals attempting to look far more inconspicuous. They come in and they clock you. They look around the rest of the bar, and then they open the door wider, and a very well dressed, very richly dressed gentleman steps in and takes each of them by an arm and walks into the room. He notices you and he gives you a nod, like a very genteel, and they walk together over to a table, and they sit facing the doorway, effectively facing you, since you're between the door and them. And the three of them are on one side of the table. The gentleman, very handsome, very, very clearly moneyed, and his two ladies flanking him. And they lean in. The women are leaning in and are speaking with him. They don't acknowledge the barman at all. Beyond the initial nod to you, they don't seem to notice your presence at all. Their focus is on the door.
Take a deep breath, finish my beer, and then approach them. See what's going on. So I'll walk up to their table.
They see you coming. Do you have the chest?
Oh yeah, it's just gonna be out. I've got no. If anybody wants to try to take it from me, they're welcome to try.
Understood.
Wish someone would, eh?
Yeah.
Okay,
Give me
so
a reason.
you just approach their table.
Yep, I'll pull the chest out and just walk towards their table.
As you are approaching, as you get up from your seat and you have the kind of chest kind of tucked under one arm, the two women notice you coming. They whisper to the gentleman. The gentleman looks up from whatever he was focusing on, and he looks surprised. He kind of gives you a curious look. Yes, may I help you?
That depends. Are you Merriwether?
Yes, I am Bexton Merriwether. And you are, sir?
Just delivering, and I'll put the chest on the table. Pardic sends his regards.
Oh. This comes from Master Talendar, does it? Are you his messenger? I was expecting to meet with Mr. Talendar. You are not him.
Noted. Just delivering, and I'll... Is there...
Oh, yes, of course. You'll want. He like starts to kind of pull his jacket aside, and he looks through interior pockets, and he looks through this. So, oh, my dear, could you perhaps please makes a sign like, and the red-haired woman sitting next to him kind of rolls her eyes, and she reaches to a belt pouch that she's carrying, and she takes it up off her belt and sets it on the table in front of you. I hope that this is sufficient for your trouble, sir. And I apologize, I didn't quite catch your name, Master.
No need for names. I'm curious, though.
Oh.
Do you do a lot of dealings with Pardic? I'll not make a move to grab the tip.
Master Talendar and I. This is our first transaction. I'm new to the city, only visiting. I suppose I should ask. Do you often work for Mr. Talendar?
Not if I can help it.
Oh.
We go a ways back, Pardic and I. It's complicated. But if that'll be all...
Oh, yes, unless you would like to join us for a drink.
Do I want to join them for a drink? This could be interesting.
Does thoros'l ever not want to drink?
This is true.
Does thoros'l ever not want to have a rich person pay for his drink?
Yeah, but at this place, yeah, I don't know. I'd go someplace else, and another rich person could pay for better. So,
but you haven't slapped a noble in a long time, man.
This is true, and this would be a good place to do that.
This would be a good.
Maybe one.
Splendid. What? Excuse me, barman or bar dwarf? I'm not exactly certain what is the protocol. Excuse me, hello. He kind of waves towards the dwarf. The dwarf makes no notice that he's heard him. Service is a bit lacking.
Dear Lord.
Would you mind terribly? He notes that you already had a pair of drinks on the bar, and I'm not exactly certain how to do this. This is my first time in this city. Would you be a dear and help translate for our? I'm not certain I speak the language.
Dear Lord. So she put a coin bag on the table, correct?
She did.
Okay. Well, I'll just grab the coin bag and fish out a couple silver and head over to the bar.
Well, it's not possible for you to fish out a couple silver, because what you've got in this bag is gold. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not gold. Okay. Well, I'll just grab a couple silver out of my pocket then, and go over to the bar and put the silver on the table and say, 4, please.
The dwarf grunts. Same as before. No eye contact, no acknowledgement other than coin on bar equals mug. And so he scoops up the coins and places mugs back in where the coins were.
Is he giving me 4?
Yeah, he'll give you 4.
So I'll take the 4 and take them to the table.
Oh, that was quite masterfully done. Are you still to be working with Master Talendar after it, you did mention as that it seemed as though you somewhat reluctantly work for him. Would you are you for hire, sir? I could use a bit of a guide.
Well, what brings you to Heliogabalus?
Oh, business mostly. He rattles the chest. I do love to travel. I've never been this far north in your fair kingdom before. Always heard that the golden city of Heliogabalus was something amazing to see. Not certain I agree. But neither here nor there. My business is actually a bit to the south. The capital of Ostel? Praka, is it? I have business dealings with the Baroness, you see.
Baxter, was it?
Bexton.
Bexton.
Yes.
What are you looking for? I might be able to help you find what you need.
Well, you've already been such a wonderful help. You've procured, well, Master Talendar has procured this wonderful item for me that will help grease the wheels, if you catch my drift. I was more suggesting that you could be of service in other ways while I'm here in town for the rest of the week. See, well, as you can tell, I have very little experience in navigating the various protocols of this fair city, and you seem to be quite well versed and skilled. I could use a man like you, an elf like you. Perhaps?
Well, what are your like I said, what are you looking for? What are your interests?
Oh, mostly recreational, sightseeing. But perhaps you could. Well, I would be a bit more thirsty now had it not been for you. Perhaps you could show me the ropes a bit. I love to learn. I do love to learn and see new things. What are your rates?
Really not for hire.
Priceless.
Oh. That's unfortunate.
But if you're looking for a place to enjoy some of the recreation of the city, I recommend the Starry Night.
The Starry Night, is it? And where might this place be found? What manner of establishment are we speaking of?
It's just an upscale kind of tavern. Sometimes live entertainment, that sort of thing. A bard or two through the tavern.
Well, if you provide me with directions, then perhaps I will see it. Are you due some sort of commission for bringing additional patrons to this establishment? I could front you.
Nothing of the sort. I'll give them directions.
Oh, well, splendid! Thank you. Your assistance has been much appreciated, Mr. Noman. No. Or no elf? I'm not. I really would like to have your name, sir. At least to tell those at the Starry Night that who I was sent by. No? All right.
No.
Well, I do appreciate the drink. How might I reimburse you for the cost?
I'm curious. Do you your name kind of rings a bell. Do you know of a Baxter Merriwether, an acquaintance of yours, family?
Oh, yes, indeed. His face kind of falls a little bit. My late uncle, unfortunately, passed these 6 months or so, half a year ago. Tragic, really. Lost at sea. Very unfortunate. Did you know him? Did you know my uncle?
When you've been around as long as I have, names kind of cross your path.
Oh,
Was
indeed.
was it an accident? Was there some sort of storm?
He gets a little stony at this. Um. Yes, indeed, a storm. All hands lost at sea, aboard sadly, his flagship, and a good portion of the wealth that was sunk into his coster, that my father is now in charge of. Which is sort of the reason that I'm in your fair kingdom. We are attempting to get back on our feet after the tragedy. We are attempting to renegotiate with some of our trading partners, and your Baroness Sylvia is, and he kind of glances back at the large painting, is on my list, as it were. This, and he taps the chest that you provided to him, is a bit of a bargaining chip.
Really, what would the Baroness be interested in that would put you in such good graces?
Are you a fan of the theater, sir?
Not in recent history, but why?
Well, I understand that this item that Master Talandar has procured for me is a rather rare piece that might entice her ladyship or her excellency into more favorable dealings with my uncle. My father. That was a slip from Ponies, not from Bexton.
Yeah, good.
Just so you are aware.
Oh yeah, well we never know, so yeah. I had no idea that she was such a fan of the theater. Of course, I'm not really mixed with the nobility around here.
No. I've seen your face before. No, perhaps not. He seems to like kind of looks off to like a corner of the room, like looking away from you, looking up and away as though he's thinking. No, perhaps not. You have one of those faces.
Very much.
Well, I do suppose that concludes our business then, unless you would like to stay and chat a while.
That's quite all right. I need to get back.
Well, it was my pleasure doing business with Master Talandar. Please convey my appreciation for all of his efforts in providing this. And he drums his fingers on the chest again. He has made no move to open it in front of you, and but he does appear very, very happy to have it in hand. We did settle the bill, yes. Yes, the coin, the pouch, yes. Well then, it was, as I said, very much a pleasure with meeting you. And if you decide differently on my offer of employment, well, I can be found at the Bloodstone Arms for the rest of my trip. Just
All right.
ask for Master Bexton Merriwether, and you will be put in touch with my people, and we will see about getting you a job.
Thoros'l will nod. He'll scoop up the bag of gold and be on his way.
All right. Well, you leave the Duchess behind, and what do you want to do?
Well, once I leave the building, I'm gonna take a peek around for Diergo or the inevitable ambush outside,
Okay.
whichever I can spot. Yeah.
Whichever.
I
Go ahead.
suppose.
Go ahead and give me another persuasion check, or not persuasion, perception check.
Oh, I rolled a 1 on that.
A natural one.
At 11.
You never see it coming.
Yeah.
You don't see Diergo, and there's not an immediate ambush, but you do notice, because you know specifically to look for them, your tail is just down the block.
Great. Are they on the way to me heading back to the Oakheart Manor? In between.
We'll say that they are. That if you go down the primary thoroughfare that you came down to come to the Duchess, then yes, they're between you and the main road back toward Oakheart.
Great. Well, with my abysmal ability to kind of perceive at the moment, I'm just gonna walk right past them.
All right.
I'll nod to them if they look my way.
So you'll get some scowls at that because you're not supposed to know that they are following you. Well, you wouldn't notice that they're scowling because they have full face helmets. So never mind. Their posture is a little icy, we'll say. But you are otherwise unmolested. They don't make any overt moves against you, and if there was someone set to ambush you within the streets of Old Town, that has yet to happen. So
Excellent.
we
Let's
will
start making our way back to Oakheart.
Yeah, give you some time to get back to Oakheart, and we will go to Macaria. Macaria, you're still working. It was going to take you some time to gather all of the ingredients for the two things that you were planning on creating, correct?
Correct. And it also, we were reading through it, so there's going to be a lot of word triggers and things that I'm going to have to send you for wording, of course.
Understood. Okay. Well, we will say then that over the course of the evening, Macaria returns with the things that you requested that she go and get, and the two of you work in concert to create the two things that you requested that to have created. So that is by the evening of the 21st, you have those two items in hand, or more appropriately, where you had intended for them to be.
In bag.
Yes, in the bag.
Okay. Awesome. So the 21st.
Yeah, on the 21st. That is today. All right. Before we get to Alanir, which is the thing that I want to do next, I'm going to give Eldrick an answer to some of his questions. So I asked to keep stream time on the tome down a little bit. I asked Souls a few weeks ago to send me any questions that he might have that he could do research on in the Wells of History. And 3 questions sent to me. It says, do the oaks that are listed in the book vary wildly in physical description? The answer to that is largely no. The physical descriptions are not often detailed. They're very basic, but there is often a mention of strong resemblance to his father, or strong resemblance to, strong family resemblance. Whenever people are mentioned, whenever their physical characteristics are mentioned, if a family has a particularly prominent feature, like a colossal forehead that is prevalent throughout the family,
Well,
then that is mentioned. But in the case of the Oaks family, you don't have any one characteristic that necessarily sticks out, and so you do notice that the various members of the Oaks family who have been listed here are all largely. There's some variation, of course, but not any wild variation from member to member. They all are generally the same basic description.
Gotcha.
Second question: Are the wives often mentioned? And yes, but within the Oaks family, they are mentioned by name, but not otherwise. Before Madeline, your grandmother was mentioned by name. Your great grandmother was mentioned by name, but they don't have physical descriptions, as though those ladies were not present at the time that the record was taken. Madeline is mentioned. She's mentioned by name. She is mentioned as Madeline née Teagarth Oaks. As you know, her family name is Teagarth from Symbia. And a physical description is given of her, though it was some time ago. So she was before she went silver, she was a redhead.
Interesting.
You would know this, but she is described that way.
Gotcha.
You will also note that she was not described as, she was a footnote that was added later, as though your father came into his lordhood prior to being married to Madeline.
Gotcha.
But none of the other Oaks ladies are given detailed physical descriptions. Just, for the most part, they're just mentioned by name. And does the name Taina ever appear anywhere in the book? I'm going to need an investigation check on that one.
Alright, 1 second. I'm pretty sure I got a plus 35 on that. But it's an 8. I don't even know why I looked it up. Alright. 8. That's going to be 26.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I am the crime-fighting paladin, you might remember.
Okay, so for that, you get the following. The answer is no. However, there is an entry that you have seen before, that does mention Athena. A 700-year-old entry that goes by the name Tierce Arcady. You've seen Tierce Arcady before. He is one of the heroes of the heroes of the Triad Crusade, also known as the Falcon. His crest is the one that you recognized as being identical to the signet ring that you had for a short time. Yeah. Early in his entry, whenever he achieved lordhood within the fledgling nation, or the liberated nation of Impilter, he was listed as having a son and a daughter. His son's name was Niall. His daughter's name was Taina. Both of them are listed as later as deceased, along with his wife, who was Amia.
Niall is a name that is familiar.
Niall is a name that was familiar. There are members of your family named Niall.
Wasn't that the one who originally came to Damara?
The original, yes, in fact, the original Oaks in Damara was Niall. Correct. Niall Oaks.
Gotcha.
Okay.
That signet ring. I found that when I was imprisoned, right? In Seligant?
No, that's where you lost it.
Oh, okay.
When you were in Palishchuk. No, prior to Palishchuk.
Mm-hmm.
Prior to Palishchuk, whenever you met the man with the scary armor for the first time.
Yep.
He took the stone from your hand and left in your hand the signet.
Interesting. Right, I'm sure I'll have more questions, but I don't right now, so.
Alright, then we're going to go then over to Alanir. Alanir, you mentioned at the end of last session that you had a very specific plan in mind, but I have since forgotten the details of that. So I'm going to ask you to let me know what you would like to do with your late afternoon, early evening on the 21st.
All right. Yeah, after I've done my shopping, replenish supplies, I'm going to head back to Oakhart Manor and go straight to the tree, and I want to cast transport via plans to go back to the White Tree, and I believe it's Bloodstone Village?
That is correct. Bloodstone City. But yes.
Bloodstone City, my bad.
Formerly Bloodstone Village.
Yes. And my aim is to go speak with Queen Christine one more time before we end up leaving.
Okay. So you have no difficulty whatsoever with using transport via plants to reach Bloodstone City. And in fact, as you step out of the White Oak of Whitestone, you are immediately challenged by Palace Guard, as you were the previous time, whenever you did something similar to this. They keep the White Tree under permanent watch, as it is a symbol of the country, and whenever you are recognized, as you will be, you'll be recognized, and one of the members of your circle, who you know to be stationed in the grove, in the courtyard, as a caretaker for the White Tree. And I don't have that name in front of me, but one of the individuals that was here the last time that you came into town, who you met in your circle's grove outside of the village.
Okay.
Who brought you here to speak with the Queen. She is here, and she recognizes you and calls off the guards. Says, "Ather, what is this? You didn't send word. What's going on?" Wait. What is your surname?
My surname is Verkine.
We can't be too careful, Ather.
I understand.
There's a lot. Fortunately, in the short time since we've seen you last, we haven't had any additional developments on that front. But things are fraught. Her Majesty, I assume that you've come looking for Her Majesty.
I have. Why, there may not have been new developments here. There have been down in Heliogopolis, and I need to speak with her.
That will be difficult. She's been sequestered. The elders of the circle have decided that she is far too important to be risked further, and they've spirited her away. Even I don't know where she is. You'll have to speak to the one of the elders of the circle, and that could take some time, as they are not in the village currently, or they're not in the city currently. Is there something that I could forward along to them? Why have you come?
I've come specifically to see what the Queen knows about the Platinum Gem or the Platinum Seed.
The tree gem.
Yes.
You're referring. What of it? What do you know of the tree gem?
Well, I know that. Well, I'll say this. I know some serious creature has attacked Heliogopolis looking for it.
We have received that news. Yes, a messenger came in a few hours ago. Were you there?
I was not present at the attack, but kind of surveyed a little bit afterwards and saw some of the destruction. I was hoping to find out more about it, to find out what this creature might actually be after.
What connection is there between this attack and the tree gem, Ather?
That's kind of what I was hoping to find, because this creature wants the platinum gem. But as far as I thought, it was no longer in that form.
The druid, Lanaya is her name. Lanaya pales. The creature that attacked Heliogopolis it's searching for the tree gem?
Yes. And it's a very unnatural creature, if you get my meaning.
Walk with me, Ather. She kind of takes your arm and begin strolling through the palace gardens where the tree is obviously the central point. She says, "What do you know of the tree gem's history? I know you were a member of the circle, but you've been with us since the war. How much do you remember? How much do you know about its origins?"
I mean, I was still very young. I know the basic history of it, but that's about all I remember.
The tree gem was a gift to Her Majesty and the king, of course, from the Platinum Dragon himself. But before that, it had another form. It was cleansed by the Platinum Dragon. It belonged to the great enemy the one responsible for Zhengi. Orcus. Orcus carried, in those days, the stories say Orcus carried a scepter of great power that he used to command his armies. When he was thrown down by His Majesty and the companions, his scepter was destroyed and cleansed. The stories say in the blood of an avatar of Tiamat. I don't know how much of that is true, but we do know that the Platinum Dragon himself cleansed the headpiece of the scepter, and that became the tree gem. The tree gem then grew the white tree and is our protection from the forces that Orcus and those of his ilk would command. It keeps us safe from future invasions of that type. If this creature that attacked Heliogabalus, and that I have heard have been attacking other settlements throughout the Bloodstone lands, they're seeking the tree gem. Was this creature living or dead?
It was not.
She kind of looks down. Her shoulders kind of sink. Then our worst fears have returned. The cult of Orcus has returned to the Bloodstone Kingdom.
Oh, that's a real downer.
They seek. She kind of turns and faces the tree. We may very soon come under attack here. She puts a hand on your shoulders, like, you've done well to bring me this information. I will make sure that the elders have it in hand, and that Her Majesty is consulted, and we will prepare. Are you... I can't speak for Her Majesty, but it may be time for you to come home. If the Grove is to come under attack again, if Orcus seeks to walk these realms again, we'll need every hand. We may need you to come home.
Oh. I would very much like be able to stay and protect our homeland. But I feel there's threats on many levels.
There always are.
And I think the Baron Oaks is in the middle of other parts of it, and he needs my assistance as well.
She nods.
Do you have any quick means of getting a message to me if you come under attack? I can bring myself as well as my companions with me via this method in a pinch if you can get a quick message to me.
How far do you intend to travel with this Baron Oaks?
I know he currently has orders to go to, I forget the name of the place.
The Moon Sea. That's the region.
Moon Sea. Yeah. He is being sent to the Moon Sea region.
That's far. But she nods. We can get word to you. if Her Majesty commands it, then we will send word and recall you. If you can provide a message back and let us know that you're coming, we will make arrangements here for you to be received and put to good use as soon as possible.
All right. I will make sure I have a way of sending a message back.
Is there anything additional, Ather? Is there anything else that you need? Would you care to take your ease here? You've traveled a long way.
I have, unfortunately, a chance to rest is hardly on the table for me right now. I do have one question. The tree gem grew into the white tree. Is there any possible way that the actual gem itself still has form other than independent of the tree?
She seems to think on that. She looks at the tree again. It is possible, of course, that the gem may still rest beneath the tree, but in order to determine that, we would have to disturb its root bed, dig it up, and that's she kind of pales at that. That's the last thing that we would want to do. But I take your point. If these creatures are in search of the tree gem, they said that this creature was in search of the tree gem.
Yes. Or I should say, I believe it demanded the tree gem, or the platinum gem as it called it.
Then it could be. It could potentially be something different, but we can't expect that. That sounds as though a powerful undead creature in search of the platinum gem. That smacks of Orcus to me. We will prepare.
Yes, as best as you can. I'm glad the queen has been moved to safety. I've been worried about her safety for some time now.
As have we all. We worry for your safety as well, Ather. We know that you are doing good work, but take care of yourself. And don't stay away so long. Come home. When this is ended with the Baron, come home.
I will.
Should kind of give you a clasp on the shoulder, and I assume you're headed back.
Yes, I'll return the clasp on her shoulder as well, and plan on heading back. Do the same method.
All right. So that conversation, it probably lasted, no more than just a few minutes. You just a little bit of time. The tree stride is almost instantaneous, right? So you were probably not gone for more than a half hour. Between being challenged by the guard, having her come and effectively call them off, and then your short conversation, and then your return, no more than a half hour. So you return back to the manor, still probably early evening.
Okay. I think I will go and try and find Eldrick.
Okay. Whenever you go looking for Eldrick, you are met by Master Holy.
Expected that.
At the door into the manor itself, and he will inform you that the Baron is currently in an audience with the Grand Master of the Order of the Golden Cup, and has asked not to be disturbed. I assume that's the case, Eldrick. Is that You would ask to not be disturbed during that's correct.
Yeah, unless it's like super duper important. But
His words.
holy knows.
His words, Master Alanir, were, he's not to be disturbed unless it is of super duper importance. Does this qualify?
Where that was going.
I would say not super duper important, but if you could just have him whenever he's done with this meeting, tell them that I wish to speak with him.
I will do precisely that.
All right, and if that time his meeting is done anytime soon, I will be in the kitchens. I'm a little famished.
All right. Well, then, all three of the other individuals are accounted for. The Eldrick, we will rewind just a little bit back to the moment that Basra Fuling is led into the Great Hall of Oakheart. You decided that you wanted to be there waiting for her whenever she arrived?
Oh, very much so, yeah. Eldrick is, he understands the benefit of showing great respect for people. So well, he will be there ready for her. Yep.
When Holy leads her into the Great Hall, he, of course, announces her, Grandmaster Basra Fuling of the Order of the Golden Cup. He basically gives you a bow, Your Excellency, and he turns and departs to close down the hall so that you may have the run of the place. Lady Fuling gives you a quick salute and then a very deep and respectful bow. You recall Basra Fuling is probably late 50s, early 60s, kind of maybe like very, very deep tanned, brown skin, like nut brown skin, steel gray hair, short and done up, kind of just cut short and sort of coiffed around her head, kind of like in a halo. Wears a very crisp military style uniform, with the symbol of the order, and also the symbol of the wand of Impilter. You would know that prior to becoming Grandmaster, when Grandmaster Tanderduck was dismissed, she was employed at the in intelligence with the wand of Impilter, and was nominated to be the new Grandmaster of the Order from that position.
Indeed, and just real quick, her proper addressing is Lady Basra Fuling, Commander of the Golden Cup. Is that right?
Grandmaster.
Grandmaster, got it.
Yeah. 1 second. All right. Hardware issues. Lovely. And that's the way that she is announced. Mm-hmm. The Lady Basra Fuling, Grandmaster of the Order of the Golden Cup.
Well, Eldrick will wait until she's been announced. I mean, he's obviously sitting in a position of authority in the room. He'll wait till she's announced. After she does the salute and then the bow, he'll stand and approach her, and offer her a seat. Once the formalities are over, he's gonna go into get business done mode instead of being lordy lord.
Yeah. In your very short association with her, she does not stand on formality, at least mm-hmm. not a lot. She goes through the same sort of niceties, respecting your title, respecting your office, but then she essentially, as if you start to go into honorifics and things, she'll wave you off and like, mm-hmm. Your Excellency, let us please down to business. She has a very low, very rich sounding voice, not nearly as low as mine is, but she sounds very grandmotherly.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
But also very serious and severe.
Mm-hmm. Well, Eldrick will meet her where she is and seat and a drink, and I'm sure there are snacks or some nonsense. But yeah.
Then directly to business, then, Excellency. You have been made aware of the orders that have come from His Majesty King Gareth regarding your journey to the city of Melvant.
Mm-hmm.
It is requested that you sit at the head of the Bloodstone contingent of an envoy to a war conclave that is being raised by agents from Impilter and from several of the Moonsea city-states, with the expectation that the Moonsea, along with Impilter and potentially Bloodstone, seek to go to war in Thar. As of this time, your role is intended to be advisory. His Majesty has not, at this time, committed to sending any sort of troops or any sort of military support to the theater, as we do not recognize, he does not recognize the effort within the Moonsea region as requiring our assistance at this time. If you determine that the need is great, then upon your recommendation, it is possible that Bloodstone troops will be committed to any force raised by the Moonsea Alliance with Impilter. Do you have any questions?
Who else is to be party to this contingent?
It is rumored that a number of the Moonsea city-states, including Melvant...
So I asked the question wrong. He's asking specifically about who he's going with, right? Because the implication, based on what you just told me, is that he's going with like a group of people as an advisor. So who are those people?
You are... your company is expected to accompany you. Your mercenary band will be acting with the king's authority. You will, of course, be sent with a small contingent of guards and attachés that will provide you assistance with the administrative detail of a position of a posting of this kind. But you will be the voice for the Bloodstone Kingdom in this matter. That much has been made clear to us. It has been requested by Lord Halenbrar of the Lords of Empress II, and has been decided by His Majesty King Gareth that you, Baron Oaks, will speak with the King's voice during this conclave. You will want to know what it is that we have ascertained.
I will.
Some time ago, some months prior to today, there was a convention, a convergence of the Order here in the Bloodstone Kingdom, specifically at the palace at Bloodstone City. The region's representatives of the Order, the leadership of the Order, came together to not only elect a new Grand Master in the after the departure of my predecessor, but to discuss information that had arisen due to an excursion made on behalf of the Lords of Empress II into Thar. You are not the only one that we are aware of who have been seeking these artifacts that you have discovered multiple of in the regions around the Bloodstone Kingdom. The Lords of Empress II were in possession of one, we have learned. They have sought multiple others. They believe that there is one that you have corroborated that belief, but you provided information that solidified that for us, that they were looking to become in possession of such an artifact currently residing in Thar, north of the Moon Sea, near to Melvont. Details of exactly what happened during this excursion are sketchy, as Impilter is keeping a lot of this information very close to their breast. But that mission was not a success. They were unable to take possession of this artifact, and in the doing, discovered a great gathering of the tribes of the land of Thar. Bestial tribes, orcs, ogres, trolls, the like. Unprecedented, at least in our history. We believe, due to reports that have been returned from agents within that excursion, that there are far darker portents from that region that organized and now continue to organize that convergence of the tribes. The tribes of Thar are uniting, Eldrick, and the Moon Sea city-states are nervous.
It sounds like we know quite a bit. If this is the case, why are we not just sending troops with me? It seems the prudent course.
His Majesty disagrees. There are strained relations between His Majesty King Gareth and the leadership of Impilter. Alliances that have been strained since King Gareth took the throne have deteriorated further in recent days, leading up to and including this conclave of the Order. His Majesty has little trust for the ruling council of Impilter, and I'm afraid to say that the feeling is indeed mutual.
Indeed. Side question for a second. Hellenbrar was not there when Eldrick was in Impilter, right?
Correct.
Eldrick doesn't know Hellenbrar from Adam, right? Other than just his title and knowing him from reputation, right?
By reputation only, correct.
Gotcha. Eldrick will look to Lady Fuling. Do you have any idea why Lord Hellenbrar would recommend me for this? I have decent dealings with the Lords of Empress, but I've never met the man himself.
I would suspect that it has a great deal more to do with his relationship to your father, Excellency.
He has a relationship with my father?
Indeed. Your father and Lord Hellenbrar had, some would say a great partnership during wartime. your father being a large, a not only a soldier within the Bloodstone army, but also at the head of a large trading coster, was able to enable certain operations within the Bloodstone Kingdom that were carried out outside of the standard chain of command within the Bloodstone military.
Interesting.
Lord Halembrar is said to be a great friend to the Bloodstone Kingdom, though the Lords of Empress II never directly supported either King Gareth nor any direct operations within Damara during the war. It is likely, it is suspected, that Lord Halembrar acted within what either directly or by proxy acted on Impilter's interests within Damara unofficially. And your father played a part.
That would make sense, but why would he not ask for my father then? That implies that he knows he is indisposed, which is more than I knew 2 days ago.
Well, Excellency, your reputation does precede you. Tales of your own exploits have spread.
This is fair. She was there when we talked to Sebastian Killian about the doppelganger assumption, yes?
She was not in the room at the time that you transitioned to the demiplane for that conversation. She had just left the room when that happened.
All right, well then Eldrick will not bring that. And I don't think I know anything personable about her enough to inquire about to confirm that sort of thing. When does the king expect us to leave?
With haste, of course. The conclave is in today's the 21st, so the conclave takes place in 10 days' time. Travel arrangements will be managed. Your retinue is already being assembled. We will likely begin sending the advance elements to secure your position in Melvant within the next few days.
How soon can the rest be ready to leave?
Travel will be by transport, by magical transport to the city of Mulmaster on the other side of the Mulman Pass, and you will travel by ship from Mulmaster to Melvant. The ship intended to carry you to Melvant leaves 7 days from now. So as long as you and your contingent are in Mulmaster 7 days from today, you should arrive in time to establish a base of power and attend the conclave.
Indeed. Who am I to contact in reference to assembling the the retinue? If
That
I
is
wanted to
being
leave earlier, who would I speak with?
you. She'll give you a name of the that I don't have at hand.
Sure,
Is
sure.
a commander, rather a major in the Bloodstone military who's assembling all of this information for you, or who is in command of the situation that you're dealing with.
Gotcha. I assume I'll know where to find him, kind of situation.
You know the name. He wasn't in
Mhm.
your direct chain of command whenever you were in the military, but
Sure, sure.
he's a known quantity.
No, known enough. I gotcha. Yeah. Eldrick is definitely, if she's got a read on him, which she probably does, he definitely looks like he's mulling over the concept of not sticking to the timeline,
Mm.
of making his own, preferably of the leaving earlier variety. But
Mm-hmm.
He hasn't made that decision yet. He'll thank her for the name and the information. And then he's going to lean on her experience. He's going to kind of he'll do the kind of the lean in a little bit. There's nobody here, so like there's a secret conversation. But he is going to do the lean in a little bit, like you do when you're going to ask somebody like a important question that you really want them to think about. And he's going to say, based on your years of experience, is there anything you would advise I prepare for that I might not think of?
She kind of drops her chin into her hand. Make me an insight check.
Well, you're damn right I will. I'll insight so awesome.
Yeah, insight.
We're gonna find out.
So hard right now.
That is the wrong browser. There we go. This is a +7, not a +8. Survey. Oh, it's a 9.
Okay.
Woo!
So she seems to be mulling it over. She kind of glances at you and seems like she's about to speak before she kind of returns to her ruminations. And she does this a couple of times. So she's being extra thoughtful about this. The Moonsea city-states are a fractious lot. It will be difficult, even with an imminent threat, to encourage them to work together. Lord Halenbrar is ostensibly in command of this alliance. And so the onus of leadership will be primarily upon him. But don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to step in, Eldrick. You speak with His Majesty's voice. Your decisions are his decisions. What you commit us to, what you commit the Bloodstone Kingdom to, will matter. But she kind of falters a little bit. It's as though she's fighting an internal battle as to whether or not she wants to tell you this last little bit, but she comes to a conclusion fairly quickly. She falters a little bit, but she kind of meets your eye, and her kind of steely gray eyes kind of lock onto yours. She says, "The reports that are coming out of Thar are dire. Eldrick, there will be war. It is a foregone conclusion that whether Bloodstone is involved or not, there will be war in Thar. The official report is that the bestial tribes have come together under a charismatic leader who is itching for conquest. There's more. During this failed mission by elements of the the Lords of Empress II, something in those lands was unleashed. Something dark, something powerful, demonic. And since then, we believe it has only gotten worse in that region. We believe that other creatures, other similar creatures, have been awakened, and that Thar itself is a hotbed of activity that we simply cannot have on our doorstep. Noting, as you will, that the great gray land of Thar is just on the other side of the mountains from Vasa.
It is.
But there's more still. The Lords of Empress II will not allow for a demonic presence to darken their shores again. They will commit what they need to assess and defeat this threat. It would be... She hesitates again. Unofficially, Lord Eldrick, it would be in our best interest. It would be in the Order's best interest if Bloodstone was seen to be an active participant in this. It would go a long way to mend fences between our nations, undo some of the damage that has been done recently. This is putting a lot on your shoulders. I understand this. But for the sake of all goodly peoples in our realm and in our neighboring realms, we are asking a lot of you. we are expecting a great deal of you.
Eldrick will hold up a hand. I understand, and I appreciate your advice. It is sage information that I will take to heart. You should know that I came into this meeting slightly less blind than I said I was, or may have implied. My understanding is that Glister will be under siege shortly, so time is of the essence. I worry 10 days may be too long.
I understand. You have a personal stake in this.
Well, Bloodstone is my home. We all have a personal stake. Some more immediate than others, but no less important.
She gives you a grandmotherly smile and says, you have a far more personal stake in this. I come from an intelligence background, Excellency. I know your father.
Indeed. And so you know safety is not a word that he is often accustomed to paying any attention to.
This is true. Your father and you seem to share that attribute. That when things are the darkest, that is where you tend to gravitate.
Well, somebody's got to run at the danger. I will contact this major in hopes of leaving soonish. I will speak with my my group, and we will. I will send word for you with our plans.
May I make a personal request, Excellency?
Certainly.
I too have more of a personal stake in this matter than many are aware. This excursion that I spoke of, an agent of mine was included in that excursion and did not return. It is expected, from reports that I have received from my own agents, I still have friends within the Wand of Impilter. It is understood that my agent was last seen in a great stronghold within the center of this conclave, or this convocation of the Tharan tribes. He was never confirmed to be dead. He and another member of their party were last seen entering a portal within the bowels of this great fortress. We have every reason to believe that this item that the lords sought, and that you, if I am not mistaken, also seek, can be found within this structure. I would ask, Eldrick, that if you can determine what happened to my agent, you bring back word of his fate.
Absolutely. I will need a physical description, and I will appreciate a name.
He calls himself Astaroth. I knew him as Farron. And you'll know him when you see him. If you see him. He's my son.
Oh, Eldrick does not look as surprised as I do, but damn.
And that will end our session for this evening. Thank you to everybody who came out to see tonight's session. Hope you all had a good time. Gentlemen, thank you so much for your patience and your participation. Good times. I've been waiting to drop that bomb for quite a while.
I bet you have. My goodness.
And
probably since a certain microphone got destroyed.
We will pick up there hopefully on the 26th, which is next Tuesday, our final Bloodstone session of November, and our only stream next week. Once again, join us again on Thursday and Friday of this week for our League of Legends streams. Next Tuesday for episode 34 of Bloodstone. Until then, guys, have a great rest of your week. Good night.
Absolutely.
And GG's.
Good night, everybody.
Night.
Night.